What's up, guys? It's Q here. Give him the lazy eye. You know what I mean? Here with Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, my good man. Met this guy in the gym. As you can see, he's built.
Hey, thanks, man.
You know what I'm saying? And so a guy like that obviously has a good work ethic, and that's what we're going to talk about today is work ethics. So start with, how old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
21 years old. Okay.
Still feel very young. Still feel like I'm 16 or something.
Yeah, 21 is a good age, dude.
Try not to act 16.
21 is a good age. You know what I mean? You know enough about life, and you're legally able to drink. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
those two combined.
You can walk in the bar, no one could. Well, people still stop me because I look young.
Yeah, still get ID'd and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Me too. But anyways, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about work ethics, right? So as you were saying that work ethics, you tend to compare yourself to other people.
Right.
So you were saying that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good and bad thing. Like,
Okay.
there are takeaways from it. Like, you could obviously take it to the extreme where you're like constantly not feeling like good enough.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh no, everyone's so much better than me. But I think there's like a good balance, just like everything in life. There's always like a good balance of certain things. Like, you shouldn't not care about what other people are doing, and you shouldn't compare yourself too much, or else you're gonna take it like way too far, and you'll start having self-confidence. You'll lack self-confidence, and just I don't know, just like I guess it's like the right mentality of just going into like different things.
Okay.
Like, I'll give an example of I went into the Allen Hancock's Fire Academy. It was 2 semesters, and there was I'd wake up at like 5 o'clock, and then I'd get home around like 6 or 7, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So it was a full-time thing, and
That's a lot of hours to be on the streets.
yeah. It was crazy. I could like talk about this and probably forever, but just having everyone's a stud there. Everyone's there to get shit done, and I've only been in a couple of like environments. Like, I played water polo and I swam for 4 years, and everyone wants to get like a centered kind of goal. And just being around like that environment, everyone's there to work. No one's missing assignments, right? Everyone wants to get hundreds on everything.
Right.
Like, you don't always get that in like a college class. Is always it's not to say it's terrible, but just being in like a really like positive environment where everyone's just working as hard as they can. It was just like, obviously I grew from it. And the reason why I was talking about comparing yourself to other people is because everyone's like a stud. Everyone has an A in the class, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's definitely not easy. They're putting in work. Everyone's staying up till like 10 o'clock. So we're like studying for like 3 hours. Many people went for longer. We have a test every morning, and then we had to memorize vocab every other day, I think. And we're all depending on each other because we all get punished together.
Right.
And, when it comes to comparing yourself to everyone else, it was a good thing that, because everyone's working really hard.
Right. So it's like you kind of have like a little mini competition going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's like
you get the next highest test on the squad and whatever.
Yeah, it's like an untold competition.
Right.
But
competition is good.
Yeah.
Competition is very good. I always recommend that people play some kind of sport in their youth, especially like in high school and stuff like that, because competition is a motive. It will drive you to do things that you thought you couldn't do before. So
exactly.
that goes to what you're saying with comparing yourself to other people. Well, you gotta, you don't want to. You're an individual at the end of the day, right? So everybody is some things are gonna work for some people, some things aren't gonna work for you.
Exactly.
And you can't let that bring you down, but at the same time you have to keep in mind what everybody else is doing, because you have to think about progression, and you have to think about at the end of the day, we're competing for resources. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, yeah, definitely, I agree with what you're saying.
Right.
Another thing is, one thing I want to talk about now is comparing yourself to yourself, right? And
Yeah.
competing with yourself. That's a I think is very essential to college life, to pretty much anything
Yeah,
you do.
exactly. I think it's like very invaluable, like to be humble enough to really kind of look back at yourself. And I do see, or at least the people I work with, or at least the people I've been with, I should say, have have trouble with the kind of like humbling themselves. Where I wouldn't say I'm like the best at it, as I always feel like I'm not. I'm not good enough. I could always do more. I'm always trying to improve myself because the more I really the more I think about it. Yeah, sorry, I got a call. I'm just going to mute it real quick.
Okay.
But like the more I come down to it, I have me, right? And I can only control so much. And I think a lot of people like to dump like their like to focus on other people. I wouldn't say dump, but you might see this in relationships a lot, where people have problems and they go into a relationship without really handling their own problems in their own life. Here, I'm gonna yell real quick.
It's all good.
Alex!
That's a loud yell, bro.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a loud
What's
person.
on that?
No, it just came naturally. I'm a really loud person, but yeah. Anyway, mentality and just really benefiting yourself, like pushing your best foot forward, and it's really not easy. Like you have a lot of different weaknesses, and just understanding that and trying to work either around it or work at it to improve yourself is like a really big thing.
Definitely, and you're right about I think kind of what is important, and kind of what you're kind of saying is also like being self-aware,
Yeah.
right? Which is very hard to do. It takes a certain amount of, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say that people that aren't self-aware aren't intelligent, but it does take a
Right.
certain amount of intelligence to be self-aware. And so, I agree with what you said with like people kind of jumping into relationships. That example you gave,
Yeah.
and not being ready for a relationship. That's a big thing, especially like, especially young people. It's
Yeah.
something that a lot of young people kind of go through. This age is like, you're kind of getting to the end of that age, but there's an age between like 17 and like 21 where you're going through a lot of changes. You know what I mean? You just graduated high school. You're going through physical changes for sure, and you're getting out into the real world. So I definitely encourage people to, like, if you find someone, okay, you have a girlfriend, whatever, but I definitely encourage people to focus on themselves at this age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I find it easier to, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, find it easier to focus on other people's problems than your own. Because, I don't know, really, like, being honest with yourself is difficult. Like, I have a lot of weaknesses, and I have definitely through the Fire Academy, I have known them. Like, they've become very, like, apparent to me. They're, like, in my face. And, other people notice them. But, I kind of, and, you're aware of that, but I've kind of fallen to my strength of, like, a really happy-go-lucky person. And, when I'm around people, they're usually, like, they're a little more upbeat. And, people have told me this, and I'm just, I haven't noticed it until, like, when, more people are like, oh, by the way, you have, like, I'm like, dude, this is just what I do normally.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying.
That's why I interviewed this guy, by the way. Like, I met this guy, and I was like, dude, I need to interview this guy. Like, You could just tell. You could just tell right off the bat. First thing he does is a big old smile on his face and, hey, how you doing today? You know, like starts a conversation right off the bat. You know, that's the kind of people I like to be around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha. I just like talking to people, to be honest.
That's good, dude. That's good. But yeah, I mean, we're at 10 minutes. That's about the amount of time that I like to keep it to. So, great conversation, bro.
Man.
I hope somebody out there learns something from this guy, and maybe we can do more videos later.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah? All right, cool. Have a good one.